All right, man, that was Clemson football. That was fun. A lot of fun. Really happy for our fans. We all know how much this one means, and really happy for our team, especially our seniors, to be able to say they are undefeated down here. So we're just happy for those guys. These guys have had great preparation. That's 4 road wins in a row. That's 4 overall wins in a row. That's 6 in a row down here, which this is not an easy place to come play. 6 in a row down here, and it's our 7th win. There it is, Chapel. It's 6-7. So maybe there's something to that. I don't know. But man, it was a lot of fun. I love just the effort of our guys, the belief of our guys, and hey, now we put ourselves in position to get to the postseason and maybe try to get an 8th win. And that's not what we set out to do, but there's only 2 other teams that have had 8 wins 15 years in a row, and that's Alabama and Georgia. So that's quite a turnaround. In fact, this is the greatest turnaround team in Clemson history. There's 30 teams that started 1-3 or worse. Only 4. We were only the 4th to get to 6. Nobody got to 7. So that wasn't what we set out for our story to be, but that's our story, and that's what life's all about. When good things happen to you, how do you respond? And when bad things happen to you, how do you respond? And man, you saw a group of young people that have responded to a lot of adversity, a lot of disappointment, a lot of negativity, a lot of that stuff. They've stayed together. They've continued to believe, and it's a good football team. I mean, they should have beat Alabama. I mean, they should have won that game, and they're 2 or 3 plays away from winning a couple more games. And just one of them years didn't quite go their way, but that's a really dangerous football team that we just beat. And again, I got a ton of respect for Shane and how he does things here. This is my heart hurts for him and Emily and his family, because I know what it feels like to be on the other side of it. And this is a tough game to come out on the short side of it. But I'm proud of our guys. And I know everybody likes to give me math lessons around here. That's 9 out of 11. That's 9 out of 11. Y'all was all ready for the 3 out of 4. Y'all couldn't wait. Y'all already had them articles written. And let me just help. That's 9 out of 11, and that's 6 in a row down here.
All right, welcome to Believe in Clemson Football. I'm Will Vandervort. That's Ashby Mixon of the Tiger Pregame Show, of the Clemson Insider, of Wednesdays with Ashby. I guess that's what press. Ashby, what's it called? I always mess that up, I know. But on CCP, Ashby does a lot of things, so it gets caught in my head. She just got off at WSBA. She's working there. She's a jack of all trades. Ashby, thanks for joining us. How you doing tonight?
Will, what an intro. Thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here with you. This is so much fun.
Well, I messed that intro all the way up. I mean, what's your show on Wednesday nights that you were doing on CCP? What was it called?
Overtime with Ashby.
Overtime with Ashby. See, there you go. See, I was close, but I messed it up. But y'all know her with me and Qualk on the Tiger Pregame Show, and Grayson Mann, as she does a wonderful job each week on the Tiger Pregame Show. So she's joining us tonight because Alex Dodd, he has some rodeo to do tonight. I mean, it's football season. They're doing rodeos. He's in Las Vegas. Like, who goes to Las Vegas? So Ashby's filling in for Alex this week. And we appreciate all you guys joining us as well for Believing Clemson, presented by FanDuel. You can check us out each week throughout the football season, and then sometimes during the offseason as well. We have special shows as well. But we appreciate you being with us. We're going to review the Clemson-South Carolina game. You heard Dabo Sweeney there, Ashby. Y'all stopped 9 out of 11. All right, Chapel Fowler. It's 9 out of 11, not 3 out of 4. Y'all had your stories ready to write 3 out of 4. Ashby, I didn't have my story written. How about you?
Thank you for clarifying, Will. I also did not have a story written, but I did say last week as we were leaving the press conference, after he initially corrected a reporter and said, well, we've won 2 of the last 4. I said, bookmark this. Clemson can go back and get this win. This is coming back up. It was the most obvious foreshadowing of all time that there was.
It was. I mean, it was classic Dabo, as he likes to point it out to us when he can, when they get a big win like that. And it was a big win. And I know a lot of you guys out there want to talk about that. Please submit your comments. Love to hear from you throughout the show if you can. We'll get your comments if you got questions as well, because we're going to talk a little bit about maybe what's next for Clemson going forward here. You can ask questions, and what I can answer is a lot of things I can't answer because I don't want to, not because I don't know. It's just because better to keep things quiet until things come out. So anyway, Ashby, before we go to and talk about our sponsors here, I want to just get your overall thoughts, just a generalization of what you saw on Saturday.
What a huge win. What a way to build momentum after a tough season going into a next season. I think the general idea that the fan base is getting right now is completely different than it was 3, 4, 5 weeks ago, where there's hope. There's this sense of, okay, not all's lost. You were able to go down to Columbia, get a win on the road, where Clemson has owned South Carolina in the last 50-ish years, as we have talked about. I think that was really big for morale. I think it was great for culture. And now the fact that you get to go and have a big-time bowl game, travel as a team to go somewhere, I think that that's a really good place to end this season after what started as a tough year that really nobody expected. Big-time win for the Tigers.
Yes, it was. And by the way, Andrew, yes, Ashby was the one who was with JP last night on his show, so she fills in as for both of us on our shows, and she does a great job. Hey, look, when you got somebody who's good, you go to her. You know, you don't hold back. You go and you go to her. So Ashby does a great job, y'all. Y'all need to go follow her. Ashby is Ashby Mixon on X, right?
I think so. We're on the road to 300 followers.
Ashby, I gotta get you to not say think so. Yes, I need. We got
Ashby Mixon, I believe. Thank you so
Mixon.
much.
Yes, y'all go give her a follow if you haven't. She's a good follow. Great writer, up and coming writer. I'm telling you guys, she's gonna go places. And she's a Clemson, gonna be a Clemson grad on December 18th. Is that correct?
In about 16 days. Yep, coming up really soon. Being able to say I went to Clemson.
Yeah. It went to Clemson, but still is at Clemson. Is got a lot of exciting things coming up for her, as I know that's to be the case. Anyway, I want to go ahead and get a shout out to our sponsors. We should start it off with the Clemson Insider. For all the Clemson information that you want, go to the ClemsonInsider.com. The Clemson Insider sponsors us each week on this show here for the most complete coverage of Clemson athletics and recruiting. You know, you can see us on YouTube, obviously, if you're watching us right now, on Facebook, if you're watching us, on X, you're watching us. You can go over to the website. We got tons of news out. We got a little bit of more coaching information out tonight for you, some information on the transfer portal, what players might go. That's why I say I don't like to really kind of tell you on this podcast. I want you to go read my articles. There's a reason why I word on it. So I want you guys to go check that out. If you can, go over to the Clemson Insider for the most complete coverage of Clemson athletics and recruiting. Go give them at ClemsonInsider.com. Follow them on X at Clemson Insider, on Facebook at the Clemson Insider Facebook page, and of course right here on YouTube at Clemson Insider. Also, want to give a shout out. Getting close. I know I've been teasing you guys forever. I'll stop teasing you here pretty soon. But the all-new Smoke on the Water, which will be located at 64 Beacon Drive on Restaurant Road off of Pelham Road in Greenville, South Carolina, it's planning to open in December, which is now. So any day now, I'm going to get the green light that, hey, we're open. So they're getting real close. I know I've been teasing you guys for a couple of weeks on this, but they're getting close. But when they do open, the all-new Smoke on the Water will feature the same famous smoked meats it had before when it was located in downtown Greenville. It'll have the pulled pork, the brisket, the beer butt chicken, and the prime rib. But they'll also have a few new things on the menu as well, so you want to go check those out. As always, it'll have its 5 signature barbecue sauces, which will be there to complement, not smother, any of your smoked meats. Like before, the all-new Smoke on the Water will have Greenville's best happy hour, and it will feature live acoustic acts as well. So right now, the all-new Smoke on the Water is available for catering. I know, Ashby, you want to go ahead and grab that if you want some food this weekend as you're watching the championship games, right? You're going to go get some catering. You can go and do that by calling 864-232-9091. They also have its food truck that's available. Again, that's the all-new Smoke on the Water, which will be located here in a few days now at 64 Beacon Drive on Restaurant Row off of Pelham Road. Again, that telephone number is 864-232-9091. Got a little bit of news, Ashby, I want to get out too before we get going here as well. I know I put my finger, Ashby, on the whole thing. I forget I'm doing touchscreen and people are looking at me. I'm just used to the audio part. I'm not used to people staring at me. Anyway, the Atlantic Coast Conference announced its 2025 All-ACC team on Tuesday afternoon. Seven Clemson players tied for the fourth most earned recognition on the ACC's annual squads, which recognize the conference best players. Clemson has produced at least 7 selections in each of the last 11 years and in 14 of the last 15 years. Clemson tied for the conference lead with 4 first-team selections, including linebacker Sammy Brown, offensive tackle Blake Miller, cornerback Avion Terrell, and defensive tackle Peter Woods. The Tigers placed 3 players on the third team, and that was defensive end Will Helt, safety Ricardo Jones, and wide receiver Antonio Williams. The selections represent the first in the careers for Brown, Woods, Helt, and Jones. Terrell and Williams each earned their second career selections after being named to the team in 2024. And with this selection this year, Miller became the 25th player in Clemson history to earn at least 3 career All-ACC honors. And then also in other news, I'm sure some of you have heard this by now, but a Clemson linebacker is set to hit the NCAA transfer portal when it opens on January 2nd. T. Creighton plans to enter the portal. The Clemson Insider confirmed earlier tonight. As a redshirt sophomore this season, Creighton has played in 11 games, recording 8 tackles. He notched 4 tackles at North Carolina, added 2 tackles at Boston College, and contributed to 2 tackles versus Furman. So D. Creighton is going to jump in the portal. The portal opens January the 2nd and will run through January the 16th. Ashby, just first of all, your thoughts on D. Creighton jumping into the portal. He's probably going to be the first of several Tigers to jump, don't you think?
I think it makes sense for him in a lot of ways. This was a guy that, who's kind of been in the crock pot, as Dabo Swinney says, and hasn't really gotten all of the opportunity that maybe necessarily he thought he was going to get. They brought in Jeremiah Alexander last year. They have a lot of guys ahead of him that have gotten more opportunities. And I think that's the kind of guy that you may be able to see jump in the portal in these next few weeks. Somebody that is looking for other opportunities elsewhere, has stayed at Clemson for a long time, and it just hasn't worked out so far. And I think that's kind of what you're going to see across the country. A lot of guys in that position. That's what we've seen over the last few years. But I think you're right, Will. I don't think D. Creighton is going to be the first one to leave, but that is the kind of guy that I expected to be the first to declare that.
Yeah. Technically, not the first one to leave. Shelton Lewis
True.
did it back in October, the Clemson safety, and he'll enter the portal with D. Creighton on January 2nd. So, hey, you know where you can find out when somebody else enters the portal? At the Clemson Insider.
Look at that.
How about
Look
that?
at
Go to the Clemson Insider. You'll be able to find out. We'll have it as soon as it's available. So we do appreciate everybody over there at the Clemson Insider, including myself. Gotta appreciate yourself, Ashby, right?
I like that you gave the self shout out, Will. Thank you for clarifying that for us. I appreciate it.
Ashby, I want to just kind of get your, we talked a little bit about the game, but did the game against South Carolina, did it go the way you thought it would go the other day? Or were you, I know we talked about it in the pregame show and you were a little nervous, you said. Give me your thoughts as the game was going on. Did it go the way you thought it would go?
Well, ahead of the game, I was certainly nervous because I think even though we're in the last week of November, Clemson's had a really solid November. There are still times when you don't exactly know what to expect from that team. And going into a big-time rivalry game, how it went last year, knowing this was kind of South Carolina's bowl game in a way, that makes me nervous. Mm-hmm. It really did, especially after the season they've been through. But as the game went on, pretty quickly, as everybody kind of settled in, as it started, I started realizing that Clemson was in control of that game outside of 2 plays for the whole time. And it kind of felt like that to me. There were a couple moments here and there where I thought maybe South Carolina makes a drive here, ties it up. At the end had the chance to go 95 yards. But even at that point, the defense was playing so well that was never really in question in my mind. This is the best defensive showing that Clemson has showed all year. I think there were different players on the field at every single drive that had a big-time play, guys that maybe you didn't even see have those kind of big-time plays until this game. And listen, if there was ever a game to jump out and have a legacy game, a career game, it was certainly this kind of a game and a rivalry matchup.
Yeah, the defensive line, and I said this in my my prediction and preview on Friday, that if Clemson's defensive line controls things and they can get pressure with just those 4 guys, as they did, then I thought Clemson could win by 2 touchdowns.
Yep,
And
you
Ashby,
did.
what was the score? It was by 2 touchdowns. And now, granted, they got a pick 6 to help that, but nonetheless, it still came to be true because I thought Clemson, as bad as Clemson's offensive line has been all year, and it has been. Let's just call it what it is. It's been hard to watch at times, and it was hard to watch sometimes on Saturday. But South Carolina's is worse.
Yes.
And I just felt like Clemson could get pressure all day long and just basically drop their linebackers into coverage. And that's what they did. And that allowed Sammy Brown and that allowed Wade Woodaz to basically double spy Lenore Sellers. And so if he went one way, they went with him. If he went this way, they went with him. And they made him stay in the pocket and have to throw the ball because they felt like he may get a couple plays downfield, and he did. But for the most part, they felt like they could beat him if he had to throw the ball 50 times in the game. And so they did that. They came out. The defensive line shut the run down, did not allow – and they didn't just shut Lenore Sellers down. They shut down everybody for South Carolina, as I thought they could. And then they got pressure when they knew South Carolina was just going to pass it. Like, they just came at them, and they were all over Lenore Sellers, just like they were last year too. A lot of people forget that. They were on him last year. They just didn't bring him to the ground. It's not like he was, it was designed, a lot of design stuff. No, it was a lot of stuff he scrambled and made plays, and you give him credit for that because Dabo said he's a heck of a player. But, the defensive, I think when you first look at this game, the story of the game was the defense and the defensive line. They controlled the game throughout, and to me, I never really had any doubt that Clemson was going to lose this game. There was none in my head. Now, I know in the pregame show I picked it, but I felt like I said 24-23, but I still felt like if Clemson didn't mess up, that they would win the game. And you know what, Ashby? They would win the game by 2 scores, I thought. And you know what? They did mess up.
Yeah.
And they still won by 2 scores. So if they wouldn't have messed up, they probably they should have won by 3 scores. Because remember, the holding penalty called the touchdown back. But there was another holding penalty. I mean, not holding penalty, but the procedure penalties, 2 procedure penalties ended Clemson drives pretty much. You put Clemson back in the 3rd and long situations when they would have had first downs and probably would have scored on those drives. Cade Klubnik overthrows Antonio Williams in the end zone. He's wide open. I mean, there was nobody from Antonio to Orangeburg. There just wasn't. I mean, that's how open he was. But he missed them, threw off his back foot. And to Carolina's credit, they brought pressure too. That forced him to throw off his back foot. But then you run the real route. I saw it. And I heard Kwok today say on the radio that he said when he's down in the Bahamas, he called touchdown right when he saw the play. I'm with my binoculars, so you know how I am. So I called touchdown too. I literally said that's a touchdown because I saw Randall break, and they ran the rub route, and he broke. He's wide open. He's like, and then Cade underthrew it, just underthrew the ball. Like, those are opportunities right there. I just named 3 where Clemson probably wins. Well, 4 actually. Clemson probably wins 42-14 if they take advantage of those opportunities. However, they still found a way to win the game.
I think you're completely right. And that was the exact kind of sequence right there where he overthrew Antonio, underthrew Adam, that I was pointing to when I was watching that game at first, thinking, oh my goodness, in this kind of a rivalry game, that's the kind of mistake you don't come back from. And Cade Klubnik, to his credit, turned that around really quickly, went on to have a really good game outside of that. I think that was one of the worst sequences of his Clemson career, maybe this season. Mm-hmm. But the ability to turn that around and not let those kinds of mistakes and that hostile environment get to you, be able to go down and score, be able to still trust him to make big time throws, be able to not abandon the run game, that was huge. That was absolutely huge because they didn't panic. And I feel like at some points this year, there has been a sense of panic. There was no panic anywhere. There was no giving up anywhere. And kind of like what you were saying about the defense, you said the defense was the story of this game. I think to a degree, it's been the story of the season. Going back to the beginning, Tom Allen said in his press conference last week, as soon as I got here, we started watching the film of Lenore Sellers running circles around this defense. And you guys, that was marked on their calendars for the entire year, just waiting for another shot at it. And I will say, Will, even though I did have my questions ahead of this game, I knew that wasn't going to happen again, because you had everybody bought in on the fact that they were going to bring him to the ground. I heard probably 4 players say that in press conferences last week, one after the other. We're going to bring him to the ground. So I think the fact that was the mindset. And on the other side of it, Cade Klubnik, who is trying to finalize his legacy at Clemson, trying to get that final win and not have a losing record to South Carolina as a starter. The combination of those things had really good juju and mojo for Clemson going into that, even though South Carolina had a lot of momentum at times as well.
Yeah, and the Tigers got their 7th win, their 4th straight overall, and Clemson head coach Dabo Swinney talked about that in the post game and all those things Ashby just kind of mentioned, and why that's why the Tigers were able to come out and get a win.
I'm really proud of our guys, and just their heart, their belief in what they set out to do when we kind of reset our goals on the season, where we were, and they've accomplished those things. So really proud of them. Offensively, we were very efficient. It's a real shame that Adam didn't get credit for that last run. And what a run! It's still on tape. I know. It's still on tape for the guys that are evaluating and scouting him. But what a great day overall. We were very efficient. The biggest thing offensively was when we gave up the horrible plays in the first half, they responded. And it was great to see that. We scored first. We had the lead at half. We responded to some adversity, on the road to kind of get back on top coming in here at half. And really proud of that. We were making a very concerted effort to get the playmakers the ball. And, man, they came through for us. Cade, had a heck of a game. I missed a couple. Then we had a chance to score a couple touchdowns, and we didn't quite execute. But he made some big-time plays. Adam Randall's 102 yards, a touchdown. T.J. Moore, 6 for 101. Antonio, 7 for 66. I thought Cole Turner, all 3 of his catches were elite catches. And Bentoncourt had a career high. Sapp had a big catch. I think we only had 1 sack for 1 yard against one of the best fronts that we've seen all year. So just really us to be able to protect and to run the ball efficiently was a big difference in the game for us. Special teams made a couple field goals. Jack was 4 of 6 inside the 20. And we were number 1 in the nation coming into this in punt coverage. And they were number 4 in punt return yards. And they finished -3. So I just can't say enough for Coach Gilly and our staff, special teams, and the job that all of our guys have done to buy into that. And then defensively, to me, that's the story of the game. The story of the game was defense in the second half. I mean, they only had 19 plays at the half, and you felt like we're losing by 3 touchdowns. I mean, it was just 2 of the worst plays that I've ever seen. But, man, they responded. 4 takeaways. We got a score on D. Ricardo with two picks. Avion caused a fumble, and my favorite part of that was T.J. Parker was hustling to the ball and came up with it downfield. And then Ronan with a big caused fumble and Sammy coming up with it. We had, I think, 5 sacks. I think T.J. Parker tied a South Carolina Clemson record with 3 sacks. Help had a couple big plays. Just a lot of great things. Only 41 yards rushing. So y'all all know the story of the game last year. We've read all about it for a year. But I think the stat of the game was Colin Sadler had the same amount of receiving yards as Sellers had rushing, 2. All right? So, listen, man, that is unbelievable effort by our defense. Because let me tell you, Sellers, that's one of the best players in the country. That guy is special. He is a great football player. He's a great kid. He's a great player. And to hold that guy to 2 yards rushing, unbelievable. I mean, unbelievable. And I just can't say enough about Coach Allen and our defensive staff and the plan that they put together. We did everything that we needed to do. We needed to not let them get a run game going. We did everything except let 8 get behind us one time on cover 3. And then we had some crazy play over on the sideline. But I'm just really proud of the guys. It was awesome. And, again, happy for our fans. I got to meet a young man named Tron before the game. And man, hopefully he's smiling. I know I think he's maybe hospice right now, and I got a chance to meet his mom and dad and sisters, and he was in a wheelchair when I came in here for the game, and man, bundled up in a blanket, and it just blessed me to be able to see him. And so just want to give a shout out to Tron and tell him go Tigers, and hope he was able to have a smile on his face today. So just again, thankful for the win, grateful for the spirit of our team, and just grateful we can have a couple days to kind of recoup, and we got a postseason opportunity. I know everybody's disappointed that we didn't make the ACC championship game this year, and that's my fault. I didn't get it done. You know, we've been 8 out of the last 10 years, so you know, maybe Tony can get there this year. I don't know if they've played yet. Have they played yet? So maybe Tony can get there, and we can still share in it a little bit. But you know, so I didn't get that part done, but. You know, as I said earlier in the week, all those people who wrote me during that 5-game losing streak that came up to me and told me, hey, I'd rather go 7-5 than 11-2. Well, you just got your chance. So I expect some congratulatory letters somewhere along the way. Something tells me I won't get them, but, or you didn't really mean it. But no, I'm just thankful. I'm really thankful, and just incredibly humbled by the effort of our team. Excited about a postseason. I don't know where we're going to go, but man, we'll have a great time getting ready to go play somewhere. And we've had 14 years with a postseason win. You know, we got a chance for a 15th. We got a chance for an 8th win. We got a chance to finish the season with a 5-game winning streak. There's a lot of good things that can come out of this season. Most of all, I think hopefully just a reset on how hard it is to win, and just the joy and appreciation of winning. So with that, I'll take your questions.
Ashby, did you send Coach Sweeney a letter to say thank you for beating Carolina and go at 7-5? I know you did. Come on.
You know what? I haven't put it in the mail yet. It's not en route yet, but we're working on it. Have you sent yours?
I have, because guess what? You know, I'm gonna be honest. You know, you got to beat South Carolina. I'm sorry, when you don't beat South Carolina, it sucks. And you know, Ohio State last year won the national championship, but they lost to Michigan. And so though they were national champions, Michigan let them know they weren't champions in the state of Michigan, you know, and then just think about that now. This is an in-state rival. So Clemson, if they were to ever win a national championship and South Carolina beat them in that same year, then Clemson would have to, they couldn't claim a national championship in their own state of South Carolina. And they really couldn't, because they would have lost to Carolina. So it is a kind of a big deal. And so, you know, Dabo's right. I mean, 11-2 is great. I mean, you want to go 11-2, but those years they went 11-2 and lost to South Carolina, it sucked. Clemson fans hated it. You know, they couldn't stand it. So I kind of get it when a fan told them that. I kind of get it, you know, but now fans got to stay true to his word and say, Coach, I'd rather you go 7-5 and beat Carolina than go 11-2 and lose. Well, guess what? Like he said, they just did it.
I'll tell you, though, after that game, the way that I was feeling, a lot of my friends that are also Clemson students, the way we were feeling and talking about that game, it kind of had the same feeling as if you were finishing the season 12-0. That's how big of a win it felt, I think, for this community and this fan base that really needed a big-time win like that. Yeah, you go get the Louisville win, you get the Furman win. Those are amazing big-time wins, but there's a different level when it is a rivalry game like that. There's a reason that when they write down the ultimate goals, one of them is win the rivalry game. You start thinking about that a year before. Tom Allen came in and said, we were watching that tape thinking about that as soon as I came in, which was several months before the season even started. It's a big deal, and there's nothing quite like winning that game to give you positive momentum going into a bowl game, going into next season. And the fact that they're even in the position to get an 8th win at this point, if you had told me that when they were 1-3, I don't know that I would have believed you, Will. Would you?
Yeah. Because I thought this team, it was ridiculous. They were 1-3 to begin with. It was even more ridiculous. They were 3-5 because the talent's there. And I waited all year for that talent to really show itself and get to where it needed to be. So I just knew if they could just whatever was going on, and there was something, because there's a reason why they started. Maybe it took that LSU game just lingered longer than they thought at the beginning of the season, and then Kay Klubnik getting hurt and them losing to SMU. Maybe that kind of stung also, and kind of then their realization they can't play for a championship hits them. I think maybe that kind of, and then they lost a game there that they shouldn't have to Duke. Of course, the official helped. By the way, let's just go ahead and talk about it. The ACC has screwed itself, because if Duke wins this championship, Ashby, the officials, they really cost the ACC millions and millions of dollars, because Duke will win the ACC but can't go to the playoff. By the way, Virginia ranked number 12 in the latest rankings. So that's a big deal. And so, you got to pull. If you're the ACC, you're pulling for Virginia bad right now. But a bad call against Clemson, and yes, it was a bad call, because the call they called was not a pass interference on the offense. On the defense. It should have been on the offense, because that play that they called pass interference was not on Avion Terrell. Now, if they wanted to call holding before that, they could have. That's different. Holding and not pass interference are two different things. That call ruined possibly the ACC's chance to get in the college football playoff.
And if you look at that this far out, that is such a crazy, crazy scenario. Looking at I had to have somebody break down the whole ACC picture for me a few days ago and just say, okay, explain to me why Duke is in this position as opposed to a Miami, somebody else, because it really is so interesting. But you're completely right. And Coach Sweeney said it. He said, because of Tony, we'll all be pulling for Virginia to win. Mm-hmm. And the ACC is going to be in that camp too, because, oh my goodness, this season has not gone the way that any of those top officials thought it would. That's for sure.
If you're Manny Diaz and Duke, do you just throw the game, because you're costing yourself millions of dollars if you win?
Listen, if I'm Manny Diaz, I'm going in there to win. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I want to be the first 7-5 team to win a conference championship. I think that would be
of course it would be the
hilarious.
ACC.
Oh my goodness. Can you imagine? ACC kickoff next year talking about the reigning champion Duke Blue Devils?
Oh, we're going to have to talk about either the reigning champion Duke Blue Devils or the reigning champion Virginia Cavaliers. Either way is, last time Duke won an ACC championship was 1989. The last time Virginia won an ACC championship was 1995. So, Ashby, you weren't even thought of in 1995, or definitely not in 1989. I was a teenager and in college those 2 years. So, just crazy. And we'll talk more about this game in a minute when we do our pick six. Ashby, this is a great point here by our guy, Rob Allen on YouTube. Thank you, Wade Woodass, for maintaining our lead in the fourth quarter with your shoestring seller's tackle. Yes, that was a huge play. I went back and watched the game last night, and I was watching that, and I was like, wow, because I was writing at that point some stuff, I guess, and I didn't see that. And I'm like, oh, my gosh, what a huge play that was. Because if he doesn't make that tackle, he's gone.
He's gone.
And also, Wade Woodass on that, I believe it was that same drive, he makes he bats that ball down on 4th and 3 when South Carolina's trying to go drive to take the lead. So 2 huge plays by Wade Woodass.
That was a career day. I was talking earlier about guys that kind of defined their legacy or cemented it, and that was the best game of Wade Woodass's career, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. It by far was, because of those 2 plays in part. If he doesn't make that tackle, which, by the way, would not have been made last year, that was the kind of play that he was getting where they weren't bringing him down. It was those kinds of moments that they were talking about. Somebody has to go in, get in an uncomfortable position, and bring him down. That saved a lot for that Clemson defense. And then to be able to turn around and bat that pass down, man, he was one of the MVPs of that game for me. And what a way to end it, his last regular season game. Oh, my goodness. Shout out Wade Woodass.
By the way, Matt Stinchcomb, the color analyst there on the SEC Network for the game, he mentioned, and we got to give Tom Allen credit, he mentioned that Clemson was number 2 in the country in fewest missed tackles. And remember, he kept shouting, "We're going to be the best tackling team in the country." They're not the best, but they're the second best, because I didn't realize that till Matt Stinchcomb said that Clemson is the second best team in the country when it comes to missed tackles. As far as not having missed tackles, only 81 missed tackles on the season for Clemson going into the South Carolina game, which ranked number 2 in the country as far as fewest missed tackles. How about that stat?
I actually went and I heard that as well. And I went and looked it up while I was watching the game and was like, oh my goodness. I was thinking back to in July, I think, when Clemson posted like a big spring camp documentary of Tom Allen being there and them doing burpees and up downs and all these things for every missed tackle. And I was like, look, I don't know if it was that. I don't know if it's him being on the sideline. I don't know if it's practice, but something's working, because that is much improved. And moments like that Wade Woodaz tackle, that's when you could really see that.
On Facebook, Andrew writes, "I loved every second of the game. I messaged 19 Gamecock fans only to get a response from 2, laughing out loud. Everybody became extremely busy after the game, I guess." Yes, it was a great moment for Clemson fans. This is you hate losing to South Carolina, so when you get it back the next year, you really appreciate it more. And I think, we heard TJ Parker talk about that earlier in the week, right? Like, everybody always says, when you lose it, you'll understand why it's such a big deal. And I think the fans also get that from year to year because they get so spoiled. As Dabo said, they've won 9 of the last 11. So those 2 years you didn't win, I think fans were definitely excited. Ashby, we mentioned just now the great game Wade Woodaz had. Sammy Brown had a great game as well. TJ Parker, who we're going to listen to here in just a second, had 3 sacks, Ashby. He was dominant. Your thoughts on the way he played? Without a doubt, the best game of his season, correct?
The best game of his season. It reminded me of the TJ Parker in the Pitt game last season. It was like, right, there's TJ Parker. That's the guy that was going to be a top 10 pick. All of these things that people have been talking about, preseason first team all ACC. There he was, and he had it. And he was playing the best he's ever played in his career, truly. And that was so good to see. That was such an awesome moment for him. He talked about it in the pressers ahead of this week, what it means to him to get that win, what it would mean to go out on a victory. And I really was happy for him that he got that opportunity, because he's been waiting. He's been due. He's been so due. If you believe in that, if you watch baseball, you believe in somebody being due. TJ Parker was due. And he really got to show it even more than I thought he would against the South Carolina team that I knew they gave up a lot of sacks. I didn't know that they were going to give up 3 to 1 guy.
Yeah, and it's a record for a Clemson player, tied Chester McLaughlin's record for most sacks in a game by a Clemson player.
Man, I'm happy to get this win, man. Look, we didn't get it done last year, but, fast forward to this year, we handled our business. We played a complete game, and I'm just super proud of the guys and just the performance we had and the fun we had. So glad to take this trophy on back to where it belongs.
This defense has given up some chunk plays. You gave up 2 in the first half, but what adjustments did you make in the second half when you shut them out?
Just play our game, you know what I'm saying? We had those 2 mishaps, like you said, in the first half, flushed it, and just kept playing because we had a whole ball game to worry about. You spend too much time thinking about, your last mistakes, you know what I'm saying? You're going to mess up some more, so we just played our game and had fun.
Your ability to get pressure on the Norse and bring them down. How you were able to execute that?
Man, it starts at practice, chopping wood every day, working on your technique, working on your fundamentals, working on your game, and then eventually it'll work. You know what I'm saying? You can't get out your way, trying to make plays and stuff like that. You got to do your job, and it'll come to you.
What does it mean to regain bragging rights?
Oh, it means everything. It means everything to me, to this team, to this town of Clemson, to the state of South Carolina. I'm glad Clemson family. Super happy this weekend for the rest of the year. They say we beat the Gamecocks, so trophy's back where it's at.
Can you talk about Ricardo Jones and the plays he made today?
That's my dog, man. Look, I'm so proud of Ricardo. He's been making a lot of plays for us this year, man. Just his ability to track the ball, man, it's been great. I'm glad he finally got in the end zone, man. He got to give him a number, so happy about that.
TJ, how did you guys hold together? Some teams might have split up going through the struggles that you went through, but this month you guys pulled together and really put on a show.
You know, we're not like other teams. We're together. We spend all offseason together, bonding over workouts, just spending time eating, just chilling and vibing, and that shows on the field. We didn't have the season we wanted, you know what I'm saying, and everybody thought we was going to have, but just the chemistry we have within each other really shows on the field. In times of adversity, it'd be easy for a lot of us to quit, think about me this, or hit the portal, or go to the draft, or whatever, you know, you decide to do, you know, but this team dug deep, and we continue to fight, man. I'm just super proud of the team.
Thank you. What's the difference between last year and this year, do you think? Like, why was he able to get all the yards he did last year? Why not this year?
I don't know. You know, we had a different game plan than last year. All I can do is just execute it. Now we fully executed it, and I'm just super proud of how we played, and thank you to Coach Allen and the staff. So.
What was different about it, I guess? What did you guys do?
Man, we just had to tackle him. Last year we couldn't bring him down. He ran all over us. This year we did a great job tackling him and making sure that he couldn't get out in space where he wanted to. So.
It seemed like it was more game tackling than anything. You guys, I mean, which was different than any game I thought this season for you guys. Was that kind of a point of emphasis to game tackle him?
Man, you know, USC, shout outs to them. But, you know, everything runs through 16. Got to cut the head off the snake. And we did a great job of tackling him, making sure that every hit that we hit on him, he felt it. I feel like we did a great job tackling him and try to get him out the game early as possible. So.
What's next for you and as far as decisions, future, and what's the next couple weeks going to be like for you?
Celebrating this win and preparing for a bowl game. Everybody wants to know what I'm going to do. When that time comes, I'll announce it, if I'm going to stay or am I going to go. You know, still thinking about it. So just trying to enjoy this win right now and celebrate my teammates and get better. So.
When they got the ball, I think on 5, what was the message to the defense there when you guys went back on the field there?
Hey man, we play defense for a reason. We signed up for this. Our job is to go get the ball back. No matter what the offense do, we got to think about what we got to do and get it done. And we know the offense got our back and we got their back. So, you know, just playing complimentary football.
And that was TJ Parker after the game. Ashby, I love that he mentioned that he was asked a question about the drive at the 5-yard line. Let's go back to the Duke game. Duke gets the ball at the 6-yard line with about a little less than 5 minutes to play, and they drive the length of the field and win the game. And regardless of how it ended and what should have happened, the fact that Duke drove the ball down the field against your defense, that was a very upsetting moment for that whole group, right? And things changed after that. I mean, Tom Allen went in and he rechanged the secondary, things they did, how they were communicating, how he put his son Thomas Allen Jr. in charge of the communications with that. And then here they go. The biggest game of the year. They're playing their rival. They're up 6 points. They got to hold this lead. And the ball's at the 5-yard line. Carolina's going to go 95 yards in less than 4 minutes to go win the game. And Ashby, what happened?
Will, pick 6.
Ricardo Jones.
Ricardo Jones, new Clemson legend of the Clemson and Carolina game. What a way to cement yourself in Clemson football lore right there.
Yeah. Did they get and by the way, credit to Ashton Hampton, who had a heck of a ball game as well. Once Avion Terrell went out with the hamstring injury, it was up to Hampton to have to cover Nick Harbor, Carolina's sprinter and just a massive man that he is. I mean, how can a guy that big run 4.2? It's beyond me. It's like Manute Bolt over there, you know. I mean, just unbelievable. But Hampton did a heck of a job covering him the rest of the game. They had no more big plays after that. And then he made the play of the game where he gets his hand in there, knocks the ball up in the air. And then as TJ Parker says, Ricardo Jones has a nose for the football, and he went and found it and then took it into the house, did a little zigzagging his way into the end zone. I mean, yes, like you said, welcome to being to the Clemson-Carolina rivalry lore. You know, Willie Underwood says, hey.
Yes, welcome.
You know, Antoine Edwards says hello.
Says
you
welcome.
know, yes. And so those two guys also had 2 interceptions and returned 1 for touchdowns that led Clemson to big wins against South Carolina. You know, that's what it reminded me of. I immediately, you know me, I'm like a history guy. And I'm like, oh, you know, I'm sure nobody else in their lead had that but me, because I'm the only guy that like, oh, Antoine Edwards.
You knew it.
Willie Underwood. This is what this reminds me of. 2 interceptions by one guy, huge interceptions. Because let's talk about the first interception, which Carolina fans still say, oh, it wasn't an interception. Listen, the play was called an interception on the field. There was nothing that they could see to overturn that. If they called it an incomplete, there would have been nothing they could see to overturn it that way. But they called it an interception, Ashby, and it was a heck of a play on his part because Nick Harbor knocked the crap out of him trying to knock that ball out. If you watch the replay, Harbor's not even looking at the ball. He immediately knew, I'm not going to get there. I got to play defensive back.
Yep.
And he's just trying to dislodge it from Jones's hands. But what a heck of a play by Jones to read Seller's eyes and to get over there and get over the top and grab that interception.
Yeah, it was actually smart by Harbor in that moment to know that he needed to kind of turn into a DB, I thought. But like TJ Parker said, Ricardo Jones has a nose for the ball. And the best press conference moment after that game from anybody was when somebody said, Ricardo, what were you feeling after that interception? And he got to sit there and say, which one? I mean, cinema right there for Clemson fans. Oh, my goodness. That was so much fun. And, speaking of Nick Harbor, Will, you talking about how can he be that tall and run that fast? I would need you to know that that is what the press corps says about you, just in general.
Yes, they do not. Anybody who's watched me and Matt Conley run on that race, first of all, Matt won. Second of all, both of us were really slow. And it was a sad display of athleticism that day in Clemson, but fun nonetheless. Thanks, Ashby, for bringing it up about my speed or lack thereof. There was a time when I was pretty fast in my life, but that's since long gone. But hey, I've had 2 broken foots and a torn calf muscle. It kind of does that to you. You know what I'm saying? As you get older,
those broken foots, they'll do it too. Yeah.
But hey, what was your career high in high school in a basketball game?
You want to tell me yours?
Mine was 27 points. What was yours?
22.
So that's what you get for talking smack with me. I'm going to come back at you.
Listen. That's what I'm here for. That's what I'm here for, is to talk smack and also to give credit where credit's due. And Will, that comes with your 27 points. That comes with Ricardo Jones with 2 picks. Listen, we got a lot of credit to give tonight, and a lot of credit is due with a lot of different people whose names maybe we haven't talked about as much on this Clemson defense.
One I want to mention before we move to our pick 6 segment is Will Helt.
Yes.
4 tackles, 1.5 tackles for 1.5 sacks, excuse me. I think also 2 tackles for a loss. Ashby, 1.5 sacks means he was in on 3 sacks. That's what that means to me. and he was the beast. He also had a pass breakup. He was a beast in this game. That spin move he made in the first quarter where he got Sellers and got the first sack or whatever it was at that point. That was a TJ Watt kind of play. I mean, was it not? I mean,
absolutely.
He balled in this game.
Oh, for sure. For this to be his first experience in this kind of game, in this kind of intense, heated, historic rivalry game, for him to come out there, I think there will be South Carolina players that will have nightmares about Will Helt for months and years to come. He was everywhere, and he almost seemed like he was a part of every big play. You mentioned that 1.5 sacks there essentially means he was a part of 3 sacks. It felt like even more than that to me, just because of his presence. He was so disruptive. He was always where he needed to be, and man, that passion, that energy he had, I was a little bit worried about that group with Jaheim Lawson being out. I was a little bit worried about it, and he stepped up in a way that he has all season, but maybe more than ever before.
Well, you know what? The reason TJ Parker had such a big game was because they couldn't block number 13 over there. They could not block him. And so they had to double team him, and he was still fighting through double teams and chips and getting to him. And Parker was too. They were trying to double team both guys, and they just could not, handle either one of them as they combined for all five sacks, if you will. And then Peter Woods and Vic Burley and Stephylon Green, who had a great play early in the game, if you remember.
Yes.
They just played unbelievable. DeMonte Capehart, all those guys played great. Sammy Brown, we mentioned, played well, as did Wade Woodaz as well. And then the secondary didn't have a great game, but one guy, Strozier, I thought after he got burned on the 53-yard touchdown, and he got moved, and they put Hampton, and then everything was fine. But I thought he played well after that. Dabo Swinney lit him up on the sideline after that touchdown, and then after that, he didn't make a single mistake the rest of the game. He balled from that point on.
He balled, and he had some big-time hits, too. Oh, my goodness, some big-time plays. There was one where I looked at the TV, and I was like, wait a minute, who was that?
Mm-hmm.
Because you hadn't really seen that from him a ton this year. You've heard his name a lot as a guy that's up and coming, as somebody that's getting better, and after he got chewed out by Coach Sweeney, it sounds like it worked because he was clutch. And, with Avion Terrell out, with all these people that were injured at that point, you needed somebody to step up like that. And he really, when his number was called, he was able to do that for the Tigers. And there were a lot of guys like that to me, Ashton Hampton being one of them. Being able to say mid-game, all right, you're on Nick Harbor duty when you haven't been prepared for that all week. That's a lot to take on, and he was excellent in my opinion.
He was. Those guys did a good job adjusting, and I think Strozer grew up in this game, and I think he's going to become the DB that they thought he was going to be. So I think that was big time. Ashby, also, we cannot go without saying Adam Randall. What a game this guy had. What a teammate he's been all year. I voted him to win the Tim Beret Award. I thought he was the best guy that we would talk to. And he'd always come in and talk. And I just was so proud of him and how he led this team during this win streak they've had. And then also how he's carried himself, even in the losses. And then for him to have a game, a South Carolinian, to have the game that he had the other day, that was a special moment to me in this rivalry, and I'm so happy for him.
You know how I feel about Adam Randall, truly. I think he is one of the best leaders, not only on this team, but maybe in all of Clemson athletics right now. This is a guy that came out of high school, did everything in high school, immediately tore his ACL, had stress fractures, went to practice with a club on his hand just so he could be out there practicing. To go from that kind of adversity and having people talk about him the way that they did as somebody that maybe wasn't living up to what people imagined for him, to be where he is now, a dominant piece in a big-time rivalry win when he's from Myrtle Beach. I mean, you can't ask for anything more. It's a storybook, Adam Randall, this past year for him has been. And he's handled it with such humility and grace in the media. And the way that people talk about him, it sounds like that is how he is as a teammate as well. I'm really, really happy that Adam Randall got to have that big moment this game.
Me too. Great win for Clemson all the way around. Andrew, I'll put this up, your comment, because I think a lot of us probably feel the same way you do, buddy. I really hope that Will Help comes back. I believe him and Parker could benefit from another year. I think Woods is the only lock first rounder. I think Avion Terrell is going to be a first round lock too. But I do agree Peter Woods is probably gone. I think Parker's gone too. Helt, to me, Will Helt's the best player on the defense. And I think I could see him leave. I was watching intently as I was looking up there, and I was watching the Pittsburgh Steelers scout because he was right up above me when Will Helt would do some things, and he was jotting down notes, and I'm thinking, all right.
Okay.
TJ Watt Jr. right there. I'm telling you. Listen, telling you. Not saying he's going to go pro and he's going to go be drafted by the Steelers, but, man, I would love it if he did.
Can you imagine if you called that right now? Holy cow.
Yeah, wouldn't that be crazy if that happens?
I can see it.
I can see it too. All right, Ashby, we're going to get to our pick six here before we get out of here.
Let's do it.
Last week, I went 3-3. Alex went 3-3. Alex thought he had me. He thought he had Texas A&M was going to beat Texas, and he was going to beat me, and he was so excited. And, and then I just let him know, what happens, Ashby, just like in the Clemson-Carolina rivalry?
Say it with me.
Big brother always comes up and wins in the end. And so Texas, they were, hook 'em horns, right? So I told Alex, hook 'em horns. The next day, Clemson was Spurs down.
Nice, Will. Look at that. I knew as soon as you did this, I was like, oh, he's about to do it. Get ready, everybody. Oh my goodness. I had Texas winning that too. It was too good. It was too perfect for Texas A&M to have that whole season without a big time upset like that with Texas. And they're on the come up. Watch out for them next year.
We'll see. So on the season, I'm 51-33 in my picks. Alex is 42-36. Ashby, you're technically in first place by win percentage. You're 4-2 because on your last appearance you went 4-2 in your picks. So we're gonna let you go first on these. So no pressure, and you don't know. This is the beauty of this. Alex does this to me. You don't know what games I picked, but
I
the
like to do my research. This is scary.
But these are championship games, so there's there's only like 9 of them, and there's 6 of them I picked. So you should know most of them. All right, but we're going to start off with one I bet you didn't pick. Troy versus James Madison in the conference championship, and Troy is a 23.5-point favorite in this game. Who do you got?
Are they really?
Yes, James Madison is a 23.5-point favorite. My bad. I read it wrong. I read my own stuff wrong. My handwriting sucks, as you know.
Listen, the word Troy sends shivers down my spine, I think, as it does for a lot of people listening right now after what Clemson experienced this season. However, give me James Madison. That's 23 points, though. That's a lot.
Yeah, so what are you going to do? You're thinking now, you're like, oh, that's a lot of points.
They're going to win, but they're not going to cover.
Yeah. I am with you 100%. I think Troy is better than 23.5 points. I think James Madison's the better team. They'll win the game, obviously, and win the Sun Belt Conference Championship. But I think Troy gives them a better game than that. I think it'll be a better game. Yeah, give me Troy plus the 23.5. So me and Ashby on the same page. So let me write A. See, I get to write A still, like I do with Alex. I always write A. And then the W, AW. All right, so in the American Atlantic Championship, which used to be owned by SMU, but now they're in the ACC, and they kind of almost run the ACC now, almost 2 years in a row. They just beat Cal. They get a stop in the fourth quarter. They're in the ACC Championship for a second straight year. And then the ACC's not sweating like they're doing. But with that said, North Texas versus Tulane. North Texas is a 2.5-point favorite.
Give me Tulane.
You're going for the upset here.
Mm-hmm.
And is it because North Texas just hired a new head coach? Their coach just got hired and got taken away. Is that all you're going? And they got it. Okay. So you're going because all of that. But Tulane lost their head coach too, didn't they?
I think Tulane's a better team. I really do. And I think there's been a lot of uncertainty in North Texas this year. Give me the green wave, Will. Don't talk me out of it.
Yeah. The way I look at it, North Texas is a 2.5-point favorite. If they were at home, they'd be the 2.5-point favorite. So there's the written rule. You don't bet against the home team, a 2.5-point favorite. Granted, it's a neutral field, but it's telling me Vegas thinks North Texas is the better team. So I'm going to go with North Texas with the -2.5. So Ashby is going to take Tulane. I'm going to take North Texas. We'll see who wins. All right. This is an interesting game because during the season in the Big 12 championship game, it's going to be BYU versus Texas Tech. But during the season, Texas Tech blew BYU away. And it's BYU's only loss on the season. You got to think BYU, though I don't think is better, they think they're going to come out mad. And right now, they're a 12.5-point underdog in this game.
Texas Tech, just by what they've done this year and how they've just dominated teams, including BYU, I think they're the better team. I think they end up winning. I don't think by 12.5. I think that's going to be really, really close.
Yeah, I'm torn on this because
this is tricky.
I want to think BYU would want to have a better showing, but Texas Tech I think is just a better team, and they went and just decimated it the last time they played. And this game is telling me that if this was at Texas Tech, they're a 15.5-point favorite. So I'm thinking that line is probably close to being true. So yeah, I'm gonna take the Red Raiders. Ashby, you're taking BYU, right? I'm taking the Red Raiders.
Yep.
Yeah, so we're gonna go that. I'm gonna take Texas Tech minus the 12.5. All right, here we go. How does Georgia screw this up? Because every time they play Alabama, they find a way to screw it up, except for one time and it was a good time not to screw it up. It was good, but they almost did screw that up. They trailed at halftime in that game.
I know it.
Georgia versus Alabama in the SEC championship game. Georgia is a 2.5-point favorite.
I've been back and forth thinking about this a lot.
I know who you're picking because I know you.
Give me the Dogs.
Yes, I knew it. Ashby hates Alabama. She is not going to pick Alabama at anything. So
If I do, it's reverse psychology.
yes, Ashby can't stand Alabama, and so I knew that was coming. Ashby, I hate Georgia as much as you hate Alabama.
Really?
Yes, but you know what? I like Kirby Smart in this game. So give me Georgia minus the 2.5 as well. I think Georgia redeems themselves. They were the better team, I thought, the first time these two teams played. They just couldn't get it done in the end. I think they found a way to get it done. And playing Kirby Smart a second time is never good. So, you know what I'm saying?
Yes. And I think that Georgia, to be honest with you, even going into the season was disrespected. I think that's probably in their ear. I think Kirby's in their ear saying that all week. They don't want to be in the same situation. They're going to win this game.
Yes, I agree. All right. Here comes the game of the night. It's the one I'm going to be watching. Indiana versus Ohio State. The Buckeyes are a 4.5-point favorite. We saw this game coming all year long. These two were going to clash. Ashby, what do you got in this game? What do you think is going to happen? The winner of this game is going to pretty much tell us who's going to win the Heisman Trophy as well.
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, the fact that that is happening and it's Ohio State and Indiana, just need to pause there and talk about that for a minute. When you look at the Heisman candidates ahead of this season compared to now, oh my goodness, what a season it's been. But I really have gone back and forth on this too. And I could see it being a classic with either team winning. I think this is going to be an all-time game. This is going to get played on ESPN in 20 years from now. I could see it having that kind of potential. All that being said, Ohio State is a team that has been here before really, really recently. They know what's at stake. They look unbeatable to me right now. And so I'm taking the Buckeyes.
Okay. Listen to this.
All right.
In the Big 12 championship, you got BYU versus Texas Tech. In the Big 10 championship, you got Indiana versus the old guard, Ohio State. And then in the ACC championship, you got Duke versus Virginia. What are we doing, college football? We got 3 of the Power 4 conferences at BYU, Texas Tech, Indiana, Duke, and Virginia playing. What is going on? College football has went crazy. It has really went crazy. Listen, Indiana has been the hot team all year. They're my pick to win the national championship.
Really?
I think they're undervalued. I think they're underappreciated for what they've been able to do. They went to Oregon, and they beat the crap out of the Oregon Ducks at Oregon, where Oregon had the longest win streak in college football for a home venue. And they beat the crap out of them. Okay? That's a tough, physical Oregon team. I know they're going to see a tough, physical Ohio State team. But you know what? They can score.
Yeah.
And you know who can't score consistently? Ohio State. And I'm telling you right now, Indiana goes and wins this game, and the Buckeyes are going to have to host a playoff game. So, hey, give me Indiana and the bye. Indiana wins this game. I'm giving them straight up. Indiana beats Ohio State.
Listen, Will, I will most certainly be pulling for Indiana. You can believe that.
Me and William Qualkenbush and you. We're pulling for Indiana.
Qualk has had, listen, for the state of Indiana, what a year, to be honest with you. The Pacers in the finals, this situation, oh my goodness, what a time.
What a time.
Oh,
and then at Bank of America Stadium, Ashby, 8 o'clock kickoff on ABC. There'll be 2 people in the stadium, and there'll be 2 people watching. It's going to be classic. Duke versus Virginia. The Cavaliers, Tony Elliott, former Clemson player, former Clemson offensive coordinator. Just a lovable Tiger all around. All of us love him. They're a 3.5-point favorite against Manny Diaz's Duke Blue Devils. What do you think is going to happen?
I think that's too low. I really do. I think they're going to win by more than 3.5 points. I think Virginia gets that win. They've been a solid team all year. Duke has been so inconsistent at times, and their defense is not any good at all, really. You saw that when Cade Klubnik and the Tigers put up 45 points against them. Darian Mensah is probably the best quarterback in the ACC. Still, I don't think that's going to be enough to get it done in a championship game type of situation. I think Virginia gets this one done.
Also,
and the ACC's happy.
Yes. Chandler Morris is also the quarterback for the Cavaliers. People should know that's Chad Morris's son.
Yes.
So you're going to have a whole Clemson contingent up there. I think Dabo Swinney's going to be there. I bet you 10-1 Jeff Scott is going to be at the former Clemson offensive coordinator. Jeff Scott's going to be up there. You're going to see, obviously, Chad Morris is going to be there. I mean, it's going to be a who's who of Clemson people probably on the Virginia sideline, to be honest with you. I'm taking the Cavaliers too, but Ashby, I think this is going to be a high score game because Virginia is not very good on defense either.
Nope.
And I think Duke is going to be able to go up and down the field. Now the question is, can Duke finish? Which is what they have problems doing, is finishing drives, except when they play Clemson. So I think this is going to be the best game on television all night, but nobody's going to be watching it. But I think it's going to be a really good football game. But, yeah, give me Virginia. I think they cover that 3.5, and they raise the trophy. And Tony Elliott's taking his team to the college football playoff, and the ACC is saying, whew. Anyway. So,
oh, my goodness. Do it for the good of the ACC, I guess, Tony and the gang.
Absolutely. So, Ashby, thanks for joining us. I appreciate you. You've been great, as always. I know a lot of people out there, they appreciate you as well. We've really enjoyed you being here, filling in for Alex. And I know you said you told Alex you're not taking his job, but you know what? You might.
Don't tell him that. Don't say that. No, we love Alex more than anything. He does such an amazing job. So grateful to get to fill in for the night. Will, thank you so much for having me. Always so much fun.
All right. Well, thanks for being here. Appreciate you. So for Dabo Swinney, for TJ Parker, for Ashby Mixon, I'm Will Vandervort. We'll talk to you next time on Believe in Clemson Football.